Welcome. This is the first of 4 content videos on a knowledge activist approach for virtual teams. If you would like to kind of give an outline of where we're going, any of our team members, there's a main outline available on our website. That is virtualteamhelp.wordpress.com. Again, that's virtualteamhelp, all one word, .wordpress.com, and you can look at our outline there. What I want to do is look at the benefits and barriers of virtual teams as knowledge activists, and as we do that, I want to kind of condense it. We'll look at 4 major benefits and then 4 major barriers, and then we'll talk about 4 dimensions of a virtual team meeting space. So first off, when we talk about benefits, the best benefit is that you're location independent, right? There's no need to drive or fly all the participants in for the meeting. Benefit number 2, it enhances performance in the competitive business environment to achieve tasks beyond the capabilities of any single individual. So when we look at this, it also, number 3 would be that it enhances collaboration. I want to mention something. This is from Amy Edmondson's book, Teaming. She's out of the Harvard Business School, and she talks about this when she talks about collaboration. She says, collaboration is a way of working with colleagues that is characterized by cooperation, mutual respect, and shared goals. And so when she talks about this, she's talking about how teams are able to learn together, teams are able to innovate together, and teams are able to ultimately compete in the business place. So I thought that was important as we go through and look at this idea of enhancing our performance. Another primary benefit here is that it would improve our collaboration, not only within the organization, but also outside the organization. So we can look at collaboration with our customers, our suppliers, or our partners outside the organization. And then lastly, the idea of creation of virtual space for knowledge sharing and empowering virtual teams to coordinate knowledge sharing positively influence knowledge activism. And I think what we mean is that it really resonates well with the idea of having a learning organization. And when I use that term, I think about Peter Senge's The Fifth Discipline, and this idea that we want to create an organization that learns as a whole together. So those are the benefits. Moving on and looking at some of the barriers, or if we have a more positive outlook, we may call them the challenges to go through and challenges to conquer. One of these challenges is time delays in completing tasks, and so sometimes the coordination of scheduling virtual team meetings proves to be very challenging. Another one that I look at is conflict management, right? That it's difficult to handle conflict through virtual means, that you have another step, another barrier between individuals. Another one to look at would be individuals having confidence in the trustworthiness of other team members is crucial to group identification, allegiance, and the attainment of goals. And so we try to look at high-performance teams, and this comes from a book called Reflections on Groups and Organizations. And so when we go through and talk about this and look at high-performance teams, the number 1 lesson that he lists here is that members respect and trust one another. Members respect and trust one another. So there's this key impact that we should have here when we look and try to deal and work within virtual teams, and that's of trust. As we close out this video, I wanted to just kind of share 4 dimensions of virtual team meeting space, real practical helps. Number 1, I would say, is to consider national and organizational culture, including language. And so I think we've all experienced the influence of globalization. So we have that national culture and international culture, but on top of that you have organizational culture. And so there's different ways to look at organizational culture when we look at the values, the norms, the beliefs, the attitudes, rituals, myths, ceremonies, symbols, things that happen within an organization, kind of implicit and explicit values. What's the physical premise look like? What's the employee behavior and relationships? What's the executive level, relationships and behavior there? And so we have all these different pieces, and when we're trying to figure out organizational culture. So consider that as you're thinking about this idea of meeting space. Number 2, real practical time, right? Consider the hours of the day, consider holidays and seasons in different parts of the world. And so when you're scheduling those things, that it's very important that most of the time we have this very centric view of the world revolving around us in our time frame, but consider those of your team members as well. Also, location. And so this one's kind of set up on the personal level. Each team member should select a virtual location conducive to effective engagement. And so for me, that's, I've got small kids at home, and so when I'm doing virtual team meetings, I try to make sure that I'm away from them so they're not disrupting the meeting and productivity when we look at that. And then lastly, in the fourth dimension is engagement. Audio and web conferences should include tools that engage participants, right? So for me, I like live video feeds. I like even the next level recorded video feeds like this. But if not, be sure to engage the participants through PowerPoint, through graphics. So hopefully those are four kind of dimensions of meeting spaces that would help you as you go and look at virtual teams, and as you go and examine kind of the benefits and the barriers of a knowledge activist approach within a virtual team model. So I hope you found this helpful. I want to encourage you to learn by continuing on in our other teaching videos.